So speaking of government, holy hell, man, this has been quite the week, hasn't it?
So far, yeah, watching that back and forth, like a father scolding a child, is what I would say that was like. It was kind of entertaining, but at the same time, you're just like,
Just to talk about Zelensky and
yeah,
Vance.
Zelensky, Vance, and Trump. Just
It was really like two brothers arguing in front of dad, if you're being honest.
Yeah, it kind of was. Yeah, I mean, it was
yeah,
interesting because it was just like if you just take all, it's like, so for one, I'm politically neutral. I don't give a shit. I really don't. But if you just take all the politics out of it and you watch the body language and what Zelensky is trying to do, where he's just constantly moving into Donald Trump's personal space, like he just keeps getting closer and closer and closer. It's like it's just like childish shit to do. You know, it's like, what do you think you're going to intimidate him by like that? It's not
Well,
gonna
that's
work,
how it
man.
works in all the TV shows that he did.
right. He's playing TV. He's an actor.
Well, I mean,
He
I
was.
can tell you, even though I'm like not political, I was at a point a high level corporate officer. I was a chief operating officer of a movie theater corporation, and the way that they were operating was essentially really bad body language going on. It was pretty obvious there was never going to be a deal happening there at all.
What Christian commented was, "That is an excellent. That was an excellent political theater." That's what he said
Absolutely.
for sure.
No, absolutely. I mean, to watch it is it's entertaining as hell. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I've never seen anything like what's really interesting about this time in our lives right now is I don't know if you what you guys think, but like me personally, I have never in my entire life seen like so much change happen with uh, change in administration this fast. It's like insane. It's like a fucking. It's almost like a train running into a wall. I don't really know where. I don't know. It's like off the rails. I don't know if it's good or bad. I have no idea. But it's just interesting because every single other president we've had in my lifetime, in my opinion, has basically just carried on the same shit and changed minimal things. But this is like full on. You know, like everything's changing. You know, what do you
Well,
guys
I
think?
mean, you see, like when the Republicans take over from the Democrats, you see a slight change. But you're right; it is very drastic. We went from a very like lame Democratic Party, and then all of a sudden Trump got in there, and he was like, "Let's crank this bitch up to 11."
Time to stir
Yeah,
that pot and see what happens.
He's like, "Let's
yeah. I mean,
chug a Red Bull, get some wings, and fucking spread America everywhere. Let's go."
yeah. I mean, it's definitely it's fucking pretty crazy to watch. I mean, no matter whether it's good or bad, it's definitely like what also is interesting to me is the very large difference between his first time in office, like his first time as the president,
Yeah.
um, and then this, because like the last time it kind of seemed like he wanted to go in there and change everything, but he didn't really know
But
how.
the thing is,
And
it's not that. Part of it was like he has to follow the Republican Party a bit. That way he can get elected a second time. All the work comes in on your second term anyway. So this is where it's like, all right, I'm never gonna get elected again. Might as well go for it, right?
I
yeah,
mean,
that makes sense.
kind of. I mean, when you first get in office, right? You have to appease the people that got you there,
Right.
right? So the first year is kind of just paying off your favors and kind of doing the things you said you were going to do if you can, and then making it look like you're doing the things you want to do. But then, yeah, you're going to spend the next 2 years after that focusing on reelection. Like, some stuff's going to come in between, but you're pretty much focused on reelection. Once you get to term number 2, like, you have to remember, this is pretty much the last job you're ever going to have. Like, once you're president and you're done, you can't really do anything afterwards.
Yeah, there's
Like,
nothing bigger really than
well,
being.
but you get pretty locked down. You if you're getting national like homeland directives, you can't just like fly to you know Hawaii
And
without a whole guard. You can't just go to a coffee shop. Like you are tied down to the Secret Service for the remainder of your life.
aren't
Like that's why Bush Senior or Bush Junior lives on a 100-acre farm. He can't drive a car anywhere. He just lives there now. Like he lives on a compound.
I'm not gonna
That's
lie.
where he is.
I'd probably do the same thing. That way I could do donuts in the yard and still drive a
Yeah,
car.
I mean, it's not a terrible life. Don't get me wrong, but you just have to remember, like, the things you think about, like once Trump is done, like after these 4 years, I promise you, he will pretty much disappear.
Yeah.
Like he won't do it. He won't be able to do anything else. Like there are still rules he will have to abide by
They still
as
get
being a
information, right?
former president of the United States.
They still get some information, right?
Yeah,
So-
I mean,
so
you can,
Even though they just put
but
didn't
remember,
what?
Trump revoked Biden's.
That's what I
Yeah,
saw.
he revoked his National Security Directorate thing, so he doesn't get briefs anymore.
Yeah, I was curious about that because I saw that. I'm like, what's that mean? Is Trump really doing this?
So Janot, by the way, said the first term there are a lot of insiders mitigating his impulses. He's cleared his deck. He also knows better now how much he can get away with. Yeah, that's a good point. It's true. Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
well,
he
not
basically
just that,
cleared the deck. Yeah.
but he talked about it when he did the Joe Rogan thing. He talked about how the first term he listened to some people who, were in his corner, and they were like,
Supposedly.
these are the things you should do. Like, these are the people you should hire. And he kind of went off what they said and kind of was like, oh, these people are shit at their jobs. Like, what are we doing? This time, he's like, I don't actually have to listen to you. I can hire whoever the fuck I want. Like, he doesn't care. He's like, yeah, cool. And I think there's no pressure now, right? Like, you don't have to worry about getting reelected, Just,
Yeah,
just,
well, I mean,
just
I think-
push the envelope as far as you think you can before Elon gets you fired. Like that's your goal at this point.
I think the only issue is like worrying about impeachment. That's about the only thing he has to worry about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like push
But he
the
doesn't
envelope.
really have to worry about that. The
Oh
problem
yes,
is-
he does. 100%.
Not really. I mean, the thing is, he's got a Republican majority, and the thing is, like, I don't see that happening because he's got the only thing that I think he has to worry about is it's quite obvious that the next person that's going to be running for president is going to be JD Vance.
Well, Lane has a
So-
theory, and the theory
Yeah.
is 51-49. Elon gets Trump evicted, essentially. Impeached. There we
I mean, well, I mean, it's possible. I would probably side with Lane on that, but also, I think that one of the things that he has to keep in mind is again that JD Vance, he obviously wants to continue as the next president, so he can continue to. Christian said this in the chat, is that Trump is going to want to continue to have influence in Washington, and the best way he can do that is by getting his vice president to become the next president. I mean, his last vice president was a fucking wuss, bro. His last that guy was a puppet idiot
Fair enough.
moron.
Yeah.
But
No, I think
Vance
JD
is-
Vance
Vance
will,
is
he'll
another
he'll
thing, dude.
definitely run, and I think he's smart enough to get there. But I guarantee that if things go south, he'll know how to remove himself enough to stay within the Republican Party, but not be attached to Trump too much.